Hello and welcome to this video for Mars's transit through Mula Nakshatra. This particular transit is in progress already and will continue through until the 23rd of March. Before we get into talking about the specifics of this transit, I do want to remind everybody that I have two courses that are approaching this month. One which begins on the 18th of March, which is my fundamentals course, and the second which begins on the 24th of March, which is my updated Nakshatra course. You can find information on both of these courses if you follow the link above in the video. In addition to that, as always, if you're interested in scheduling an astrological consultation with me, that can also be found in regards to the link to that page in the link above in the video at this particular moment. So one part of you, it has been for a while, and you've probably been hearing me say this for a while because it's been a transit that's been going on for a while. One part of you has been preparing for a change, preparing for a shift, and you're already beginning to make progress towards that future moment in your life, towards establishing something that feels more right and true to what's going on in here for you. But another part of you is still kind of stuck with the old situation. And sometimes it feels like it's stuck, and sometimes it feels like it's something that you're not really sure whether or not you want to shift away from it. And that's a natural evolutionary process. We grow, hopefully, and we change, hopefully. And as that happens, certain things that used to feel like they had a place in our life no longer really have a place in our life anymore. But we still have our attachments to those things. We still have our connections to those things. And a lot of that is happening because of Jupiter's present transit through Vishaka Nakshatra. Jupiter, during the course of this transit, will be forming an angle with the Sun, which is in Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra, which is both of those nakshatras are connected to Jupiter. In addition to that, Mars, as it transits through Mula Nakshatra, is going to be forming an aspect to the Sun as well. Now, Mars's transit through Mula Nakshatra. Mars is what's called a dry planet. It does things just simply because they have to be done. And it doesn't think about, the feelings that are connected to that. Sometimes that's a necessary thing because sometimes we have to change things and we have to just kind of take the necessary actions that are right and wise for our life. And sometimes we need to be a little more considerate to the feelings of others. And there's likely going to be, during this particular period of time, a little bit of both that's going on. Mula Nakshatra has this tendency to kind of, break things apart. You can look at it in terms of old, I want to use the phrase encrusted ways of dealing with situations, ways that we seem to be stuck in regards to reacting to our lives or approaching the people, the events in our lives. We get kind of stuck in a pattern. And sometimes the only way to get ourselves out of that loop is by making a break. Now, it's interesting because I've been working a lot lately with the newly translated Nakshatra Sutras of Taittiriya Brahmana. And I really love the bit that's written about Mula Nakshatra, which is the uprootings for Nriti, which is the deity that's connected to Mula Nakshatra, is fracturing from above and breaking into pieces from below. Now, sometimes life puts us in these situations where things break and change because they have to. Sometimes that can feel a little cataclysmic to us. The best way to approach it is to handle it bit by bit. That's the breaking into pieces from below. We have to take it step by step, and sometimes it quite literally feels like we're breaking into pieces. But that breaking that's going on is only there because something needs to be done away with so that we can have a realization and a recognition of the best way to approach our life for the future. Now, as Mars is connecting with the Sun, which is in Purva Nakshatra. Anybody else that might be involved in this particular change that you're going through, one of the best ways to deal with this situation is to honor the soul of each individual. Recognize that we all have a connection with the divine, and sometimes our own particular path, our own particular way of going about things comes up against somebody else's. But that doesn't mean that they're wrong. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're wrong either, though. It just means that we're in a situation where two different people see things in two entirely different ways. And the best way to approach situations like that is to recognize it. And there can be, during this time, a little bit of friction involved. I'm not going to, go into it with kids' gloves here and tell you it's going to be absolutely simple. But the best way to remember it is, or remember how to deal with it, is step by step, bit by bit. Don't feel that you have to push something to an extreme in order to make a change, when perhaps making a bit of a breakaway a little bit at a time is something that's going to be more helpful to the situation, and something that's going to be more respected by the individuals involved. Now, as we're talking about Mars, it is also important to look at any planets that might be in Mars-associated nakshatras, and that would relate to Ketu, which is in Dhanishta. And so as part of this particular situation, what's likely going on, and this kind of fits in with this whole transition period, like feeling like you're stuck here, but another part of you is ready to move forward. That period, or that part of you, I should say, that feels stuck, is reflecting upon the past, and you need to honor all the things in association with this situation, whatever the situation might be about for you. And that's something we would have to determine through looking at your own individual horoscope. We'll talk about that at the end. But whatever this situation might be about for you, it's important to reflect back on the past. Look at all the things that did work. Look at all the things that didn't work as well, right? And to eliminate all the things that didn't work from your life so that you can establish a way of life for yourself in the future that's going to be more in alignment with who you are, and honor and respect and cherish those things that did work. And that's going to help you to make a clean break from a situation. Now, this shift, this change is likely going to be in motion for another couple of months. We've got some approaching transits on the horizon, especially an interaction between Mercury and Venus that begins to deepen towards the end of the month. And then equally, a lot of planets moving through the same sector of the sky, Sun, Mercury, and Venus, beginning to make some very powerful changes and shifts. And of course, the approaching deepening connection between Mars and Saturn. These are all things I'm going to be talking about in the coming weeks. And if I forget for some reason, send me an email to remind me I was going to do a video on that, because, hey, I'm just one person and I forget these things sometimes. But in short, this is a change that's going to be going on for a while. So don't expect sudden shifts. And the best advice I have to offer with this is to not try to create sudden shifts. One part of you might be really fed up with something, right? But you have to recognize that sometimes change needs to happen one bit at a time, one step at a time. The most important thing to do during this particular period in time is to honor yourself, but equally honor the others who might be involved in this change, right? Recognize everybody's on a different path. Doesn't mean you have to walk the same path that somebody else walks, but you can't expect somebody else to accept your path as well. So where there is a break or a shift or a change that needs to happen, take those steps a little bit at a time. Begin to make those shifts by living your own independent lifestyle in connection with the particular situation that you're dealing with, by honoring yourself, by respecting yourself, equally encouraging anybody else to do the same thing in their own particular regard. Now, whatever area of life this particular situation might relate to for you, whether it's involved with a financial situation, whether it's involved with a sibling, whether it's involved with, one of your ancestors, whether it's involved with a key relationship, whether it's something to do with your children. All those things would be determined by where planets are transiting in your own particular horoscope. So if you would like for me to take a look at this particular set of events or anything else in regards to your own personal horoscope a little more deeply, please do feel free to schedule an astrological service with me through the astrological services page of my website. That's going to do it for this look at Mars transiting through Mula Nakshatra up until the 23rd of March 2018. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.